Hey everybody, Blazer here with how to play the Scout. What the Scout lacks for in power, he makes up with speed. The Scout is the fastest class in all of TF2. He can run twice as fast as the majority of all classes. This makes the Scout best at maneuvering through obstacles and dodging projectiles. One of the most important things to remember about the Scout is to know your enemies. What to watch out for as a Scout is probably other Scouts, and what to look for as a Scout are heavies. I say heavies because they're the slowest class in the game, making them really easy to retreat from if needed. And if they have their back turned to you, you can easily go up to point-blank range and take them out with 3 simple shots. One of the most important things to remember as a Scout is that the scattergun is not your primary weapon, your speed is. If you master the Scout's double jumping, nothing will be able to hit you. Finding this with perfect aim with your scattergun, your foe will miss every shot while you land every shot. A retreated battle is not a lost one. A good strategy is to retreat from your foe, then find a different angle and attack from in there. Remember, your scattergun does the absolute most damage, peaking at 100 per shot at point-blank range. Use this to your advantage. Now it's time for the weapons. The first weapon I'm going to go over is the stock scattergun. This scattergun, like I said before, does 100 damage at point-blank range per shot, which is really good. It has 6 shots per clip and reloads kind of fast. If you ask me, this one's the best one, right next to the Babyface Blaster. If you have to decide between some of the weapons the Scout has, I would recommend this one. While there are others that can be good if you use them right, this is all in all the best one if you ask me. Next up is the Force of Nature. This one is okay if you're playing on the map like upward, where it has edges that you can knock people back into. But really, if you're not playing on a map like that, which there are only like 5 in the entire game, don't use this thing. While force jumping is fun, it really just isn't that useful unless you're trying to get to some secret skyboxes. And not only that, but you know how I said that the default scattergun does 100 damage per shot at point-blank range, which is ridiculous? Well, that still applies to the Force of Nature. It's just, it knocks them back, meaning that once you land your first shot out of 2 only, then you have to get up to them again, and that gives them plenty of time to turn around and react and shoot you. It's just a big mess. Why would you want to knock back your foe? You always want your foe as closest as possible to you when you're playing Scout, unless they're firing at you, that is. So all in all, don't use this thing. It's probably the second worst, right next to the shortstop, which I would say is the worst. It used to be really good, but anyway, that's next. Next up is the shortstop. The shortstop is decent, but really not that good. It fires faster than the scattergun, and by that I mean a lot faster. You can get out all 4 shots in like 3 seconds. But like I said, it only has 4 shots, which is 2 more than the scattergun, 2 more than the Force of Nature, I mean, and the Soda Popper, but 2 less than the Babyface Blaster and the Force of Nature and the scattergun. All in all, this thing is not that good. It's not that different from the scattergun compared to all the others, but, you know, still, the scattergun's still superior to it. If you like this thing, and if you kind of want to mess around with it, then... Next up is the Soda Popper. The Soda Popper is a decent weapon, and it's not as good as the scattergun or the Babyface Blaster, but it's not as bad as the Force of Nature with a shortstop. The big gimmick with it is that whenever you run with it, whether be it crawling or jumping or just plain running, your hype builds. When your hype gets to its peak, it automatically, you can't activate it on your own or anything, goes into mini crits. And you can get mini crits with all of your weapons for about 8 to 10 seconds. It's really good if you know how to use it, because the strategy is to get, like, right off the bat in your spawn room or whatever, just run around for a little bit and get your hype all the way up to full, but just barely not full, so it doesn't activate your crits. Then switch to your pistol or whatever you have for your secondary weapon, so it doesn't immediately activate, because the hype only goes up when you're running with the Soda Popper in your hands. and then pull out your soda popper when you actually need the crits, like taking out a heavy or something. The crits really help with this thing since it only has 2 shots. So 2 shots from the scatter gun will do about 200. 2 shots from this thing will equal about 250 to 80, somewhere around there, which is very, very useful for taking out open field things. But yeah, it also reloads faster than the Force of Nature, which is very useful, and it fires a bit faster than the scatter gun, not as fast as the shortstop. All in all, this thing is pretty good, and I like it. I use it a lot. So yeah. And finally, we have the Babyface Blaster. The big gimmick with this thing is that it also has a meter at the bottom right, much like the soda popper, but this is called your speed boost. When your boost reaches maximum, you go double the speed as a scout. Double the speed. That's like quadruple the speed of the heavy, probably more. So, but the drawback to this thing is that it does about 30% less damage than the default scattergun, and you reset your entire boost when you jump. So, no jumping with this thing, which makes this very difficult to use because the scout needs to jump to really dodge attacks, dodge projectiles and bullets and that kind of thing. But really, when you have, like, double the speed as a scout, you really don't need to jump, because you're going so fast that dodging projectiles is easy now, because all you gotta do is just swerve and they can't hit you. But this really makes a bad thing when you're trying. Another good thing about this weapon is that it's more accurate than the scattergun, meaning that the bullets home in more, which is very nice for trying to gain up your speed boost at the beginning of a round. I'd recommend using this gun trying to spam across the map and hoping you land on something and get up your speed, because it takes like almost nothing to raise this thing, like 3 shots on heavy and you're up to double speed. So anyway, yeah, that's the Babyface Blaster. It's very, very good. I would say it's second best only to the default scattergun. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, the video's over now, so thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe. This was my first video, and at this time I do not have any more up. But I am planning to do a soldier guide next, so look out for that. And like I said, this video itself wasn't really meant to be like some amazing helpful tips and tricks and strategies to do as a scout. Some, beginner guide, more of a thing to help people very much new to the scout and what to do. Obviously everything covered in this video was pretty basic. It wasn't really anything too in-depth. So yeah, I hope you liked it. Subscribe, like, helpful criticism is very much appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.